Hello guys, welcome back to this channel and thanks for viewing. Today we are going to talk about progress bar in Java GUI. By definition, a progress bar is a GUI component that is used to visualize the progression of an extended operation. For example, when you download a file, there is a progression bar that you can see on your machine, on your computer, or from the internet. So sometimes this GUI component is accompanied by a textual representation of the progress in percentage format. So that's what we're going to do in this particular video. The structure of my project for this video is that I'm having two classes as usual. The first one is the main class, and this line of code is to create the frame. And then the second class is the my frame. It will inherit from the JFrame class, all right? So now let's declare our progress bar. We will declare it globally. So here we will say JProgressBar. We will call this progress_bar and then a semicolon. So now in our constructor, we are having some frame attributes that we need to change. But let me first import the JProgressBar class here. So as for the frame, we are going to set our layout to null. We also need to add to set the size of this particular frame. So we say set size 800 for the width and then 600 for the height. So after you have done that, let me remove this pack, or I can simply comment it. All right, so let me instantiate my progress bar item. So I'll simply say progress, assignment operator, new JProgressBar. We can add this progress bar to the frame. So we will say this.add progress_bar. All right, this has been added to the frame, so we can add some other attributes to our progress bar. For example, we can set the font family for the progress bar. So this would be progress_bar that set font, new font, slash font bold 18. So because we said that the layout is null, we need to place this progress bar manually on our frame. So we have to determine its alignment. So we will say progress bar that set bounds 0, 0. And then for the width, we can say 500, 50 for the height. This line of code has been used to set the alignment and then the dimensions of our progress bar. So now let's run. Okay. So you can see that we're having the progress bar showing on the frame. We can also set the default value of the progress bar, progress_bar that set value. We will say 0 here. Now let me run. We won't see any value inside here because we need to add a specific method. So let's say, for example, that we want to add a percentage label to the progress bar. So still we'll say progress_bar that set string paints, and then we will say true, then put semicolon. So now you can see we're having the text showing. So because we said the default value is 0, so the last line of code here, set string painted to true, would actually add a percentage label to the progress, and it will show it in the progress bar. So now what if we want the value of our progress bar to increase every minute? Then we have to create a method for that. That method will be called progression. So I'll come here outside of my constructor. I'll say public void progression. Okay, so that's the name of the method in which I'm going to define the code that would allow the value of the progress bar to increase. Because as you can see on the frame here, the value of the progress bar is not increasing. It's static and it's 0 because we said by default, we set its value to 0%. But now we want it to increase every minute. Okay, so once you have created the method, we can now write some code that will define the behavior of our progress bar, meaning that it will determine how the value of the progress bar would increase over time. So we are going to need a while loop to do that. Let me first declare our counter. So I will say counter 0, and then I'll say while counter is less than or equal to 100. Now I want to set the value of the progress bar. So I will say progress underscore bar that set value counter. We now have to set the time to simulate the progress bar increasing over time. So we need to write this line of code here. We will say try. So this is going to be a try and catch. And here, let me say catch. We'll pass in interrupted exception. And then here we will say e dot print stack trace. Let me come back. So I'll say try thread that sleep 1000 milliseconds. And I need a counter to get incremented after that. So I will say counter needed to be incremented by 10. So now when I run, this is not working because we need to call this particular method in our constructor. So we come back to the constructor here. We will call the method. We will simply say progression and open the brackets like this. So this is going to make sure that the method is actually called. You need to add the method after the set visible. Okay, so we need to make sure that the frame is visible before this method is activated, is called. So now when you run, you can see that your progress bar is increased over time. So here we are saying it has to increase by 10. And here we have determined the time. So 1000 milliseconds, and we are increasing it by 10. So if we say we want it to be done in 100 milliseconds, and we want to increase the counter by 5, you'll see that it will be a lot more faster. You can see that your progress bar will start from 0 and then increase by 5% over a period of 100 milliseconds. So we can also choose to display a particular message as soon as the progress bar reaches the end. We can come down here and simply say progress underscore bar that set string, your download is finished. So this is just a message that we want to output in our progress bar as soon as it reaches the end. Now let me run. You can see that. What if I remove this and place it outside of the while loop? When I run, it finishes. Now you can see your download is finished. But if you place it in the while loop, this text is going to show while the value of the progress bar is increasing. So we had put that outside of the while loop here. So to make sure that the while loop is executed first before this line of code is executed. So that's the reason why you can see the progress bar increasing, and then when it reaches the end, we have our string message showing in the progress bar. In the constructor, we can actually change the background color of the progress bar. So we will simply come back to the constructor here by saying progress underscore bar that set background. Then we will say color that let's say blue, and then let me import the color class. All right, so now let's run this code. So you can see the background color is blue. I can also change the foreground. So I will say progress bar that set foreground and color that black. All right, so let me run. All right, so now you can see the foreground color of the progress bar. We can also choose to actually edit or modify the minimum and the maximum value of the progress bar. So because by default, the maximum value of a progress bar is 100. All right, so now we're going to change that. We will say that the maximum value of our progress bar must be 200. So here we can pass two parameters or two arguments. The first one will be for the minimum value. So we will say we want the minimum value of the progress bar to be 0, and we want our maximum value to be, let's say 200. Okay, we already have that line of code here. Let us simply come here and say 200. All right, so now in this example, I have showed you how, the progress bar is increasing. Okay, as you can see, the value is increasing over time. So what if we wanted our progress bar to decrease? It's going to start from 100% and decrease to down to 0%. All that we have to do is to come to our method called progression, the method we created, and we're going to change some code here. So we will say the counter, we will instantiate that to 100, and then we will come here in the while loop condition. We will say while our counter is greater than 0, okay, we want to set the value of our progress bar to be equal to the value of the counter. Now we will keep this statement, this try and catch statement here, and then we are going to decrement the value of our counter. So instead of saying plus here, I will say -5. So now when you run, you will see that your progress bar is going to decrease. Or we can say greater than or equal to 0. Now when you run, see it's decreasing. And then at the end, it output a message saying your download is finished. All right. So that's the message we put here. You can actually set any message you want here. So that's how, you work with the while loop to actually make your progress bar decrease. So everything is just happening to around the counter here, the value of the counter, and then the condition here and the decrement statement. So if you want to increase, you set the counter to 0, you change the condition, you say that the counter, while the counter is less than or equal to 100, and then here you have to increment the counter. So here you set the value of the progress bar according to the value of your counter variable, and you are going to be good to go. So guys, that was it on how you can actually create a progress bar in Java and how you can increase the value of your progress bar over some time. And I also showed you how you can decrease the value of that very same progress bar over some time as well, and how you can actually output a message or display a message whenever your progress bar reaches the end. Okay, so that was it for this video particularly, and I hope it was informative. And please don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one. Let's meet in the next one.